How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today we got ourselves some news, rumors, all that kind of stuff that I think will be very interesting to talk about. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. First things first is going to be Riddler Khu has returned, and he actually has proper stuff for us again. What are we talking about? Well, basically, he put out this tweet saying, "Let's cook," and the classic returns. Now, he has this picture featuring a bunch of different stuff going on in it, right? Now, when you look at this, you might think to yourself, this doesn't mean anything, but let me explain. Now, Riddler Khu, this tweet, Twitter account, this isn't a legitimate leaker. He has leaked stuff in the past. He did this a while back. Some of you may remember that he did this back in like the Legends Arceus time frame when there was a bunch of leaks for Legends Arceus. But he's a Riddler, so basically he has leaks and information, but he doesn't want to just put it out there. Instead, he sort of makes these riddles they have to solve to figure it out. For example, this is the one that he did for Legends Arceus, and right here, he already basically confirmed a bunch of Pokemon. For example, the bear down here, that was for Blood Moon Ursaluna. You had also the giant, like, boat over there. You guys can see there's a big boat, like a, what do you call it, like one of those, like, military ships. I forget what they're called. It's very early in the morning, but that was for, I think the Galarian, no, sorry, not Galarian, the Hisuian Avalugg, right? And then you just, again, all of these were like related to something. All of these were like a hint to something. Like the Pokeball was, for example, Hisuian, Voltorb, and Electrode. And if you look at like basically all of these, they were all a hint to something like that. Keep that in mind, right? These were all a sort of reference to something like that. Now, sometimes these riddles are easy to figure out, but sometimes they can be a little bit harder. It really depends on how he sort of put them together. But he did this in the past, so it's just to prove to you guys that this has been real. He did this way back in the day. Now, I'm looking at a tweet of somebody's just saying a reminder for the Arceus leaks, because, you know, this is what he did back then. So the question then is, okay, well, this is new. What is this about? Like, what is he trying to say here? Well, let's go through the images and see what's actually in here. Now, first of all, starting from the top left and going down, we're going to go from there. Top left, we have one of the characters from Dun Dun Dun, an anime on Netflix you guys may have seen. It is pretty good, but that's one of the female characters. And the thing with her, I think, is she's able to use, well, basically the whole thing is about, like, I don't know if I want to call it ghosts, but like basically demons, etc. I don't know if demon's the right thing. It's like souls or like ghosts, something along those lines, being able to sort of like take over people, possess people, stuff like that. And she's able to use sort of psychic powers to remove those. So that's maybe going somewhere in the direction of like maybe a Pokemon that is like that, maybe a psychic Pokemon getting like a mega form, because that's usually what these images are supposed to hint. They're supposed to hint like a new form, a new evolution, a regional variant, a mega evolution, something like that, right? That's what they're supposed to hint. The next image is specifically of I think it's Sonic and Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, and Shadow the Hedgehog sitting on, I think, the moon, looking down on Earth from the Sonic 3 movie, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what we're looking at right there. What that implies, I have no idea. I mean, I literally cannot think of anything. It's like 8:20 in the morning at the moment, so I have no way of thinking this one out. So moving on to the next one, though, it is a horse. I do not know which show or anime this is from, but it has essentially 8 legs rather than the usual 4 legs on a horse. So it has, you know, double the legs. Again, what this could be referring to, I don't know, but if we're thinking about a horse, if you want to go the simple path, because again, some of these can be a bit more complicated and they might be a little bit more than you'd think at you know, first glance. But if we're thinking horses, Keldeo's one, which has been rumored to be getting something, but I don't know if that's going to be actually happening. So you got Keldeo, what else do you have? Keldeo, you have Mudbray? Oh god, early in the morning, cannot think. That's another one. So again, could be a horse getting a new mega that has multiple legs, maybe, something like that. Could also be totally unrelated to a horse, to be fair, because again, there's this thing of like, just because it, like, the image looks a certain way, doesn't mean that the actual thing will be that. Sometimes the image could be implying something else. Like, for example, if it's a character, you know, from an anime or something, it could be trying to imply that, oh, because this character in the anime has this ability, that's what it's related to. So keep in mind, he does stuff like that with these riddles. The next thing, though, is the frog. That one, I don't know. I mean, it could be, given the fact that it's a frog and it has like the little star on it. It could be related to Belly Bolt. Belly Bolt, of course, is a new Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet. It is a chance maybe it gets a Mega here. That would actually make a lot of sense. I don't see why that wouldn't be the case, because usually they do like to give, you know, seemingly in recent times, they do like to give forms to more recent Pokemon, right? Like, they like to give them, like, already a form in the next game that comes out, rather than waiting for a long time. So that would be reasonable. Next up, though, we have this one. Now, I don't remember, because he already had this image in the Legends Arceus one, but I cannot for the life of me remember what this was referring to, because this character has some sort of relation. Like, there's some sort, like, I think that he was referring to this one as like, oh, this is the waifu Pokemon, and waifu implying like one of the Pokemon that has more of a feminine trait. This one having a cowboy hat, I would assume, and the hair is colored more orange, or at least the image looks a little bit more faded than it did the first time around. And also here there was the, you know, the text in Japanese. Here that text has been removed, and now it's silence essentially. Again, what this is like implying, I have no idea. This one is totally, I'm all in the blind, but it's fine, because we're probably gonna have explanations from other people very much throughout the next few days. So I will come back and give you a better breakdown of this. Then we have a picture of well, basically the Avengers. Again, there's too many characters. This could be literally anything. Maybe it's because it's multiple characters. Maybe Mousehold, and maybe all the Mousehold, you know, little mice and whatever are gonna get like, you know, a Mega that's gonna make them all look different, like little superheroes. Again, that's just me spitballing random bullshit. But I don't know that one either. Like, the Hawkeye is in the center of it, and that could mean anything. Then we have this picture of from a manga. It's of some sort of fox, so maybe one of the fox Pokemon might be getting some sort of Mega Evolution. There's that. We have a Plague Hat. That could also imply that there might be a Pokemon, like a brand new Pokemon. Keep in mind, it's not only for Megas potentially, and it might not only be for regional forms or Megas. It could be for all of them or none of them. It could be something totally different. But the fact that it's a Plague Mask could imply that like a Pokemon that we already know that fits with that. So maybe any Pokemon that might be like a crow or a raven, maybe getting something like that, or something along those lines. Who knows? Also, we don't know if this is all just about brand new Pokemon or brand new features. He doesn't really point that out. He does say the classic returns, and of course this is the classic tweet that he did back then. So, and this was, I think, everything in this image was actually new Pokemon / forms. None of it was like, I think, story related, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think any of it was story related necessarily. So there's that. Also, example is like looking up here, like at the One Piece one, like Zoro. I think that was for Zoroark, because of the whole like it being like a, what is that, ghost normal. They have Zoro and then this character, because I don't know the deal with this character, but I think I could be wrong here. It was implied that this character like is technically a ghost of sorts, so normal ghost, Zoroark. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. These riddles can be a little bit out there, not gonna lie. Then we have something that looks like a scene straight out of I think Power Rangers. I don't know. I think I'm like blocking it over here. I'm gonna remove myself real quick. But yeah, we have like this scene looks straight out of Power Rangers. It's up two blobby looking things. No idea what that could imply. Then we also have Vinny, which is going to be one of the new characters, with a prayer mat. It's specifically a Muslim prayer mat. And I don't know. Again, this could imply anything. I don't even know if we have like any, like, I'm trying to think of like what Pokemon would be that would be related to a prayer mat of sorts. I don't think we have any Pokemon that's necessarily an object that looks like that. Then there's also a fidget spinner. That could mean anything. And then the last one is of what looks to be a Hydra. And there's really only one Pokemon that I can think of that would, you know, make sense with a Hydra, and that would be Hydreigon, unless there is another Pokemon they're going to make look like a Hydra, which one would that be, right? Because Hydreigon is the only one that fits with it, because it's a literal Hydra. So maybe Hydreigon actually gets a new Mega form, because that would make sense. And if that Mega form like is just larger and bigger, that would also make sense. But I don't know. I cannot think of anything else. But that's pretty much what I've seen, what I have been sort of like spitballing. For me, the biggest one has got to be probably the Hydreigon. Like this being Hydreigon, that's like going to be the biggest one. That's like the easiest to sort of figure out. Cannot think of anything else. But again, we're going to figure this out throughout the week. People are going to come out with theories, and I'll share what people have talked about. This is a good one, actually. Blaze Incineroar says this is going to be a hint towards electric fighting Mega Zero Aura, right? Could be. This could be. Because we know that Zeraora is a confirmed Mega, by the way. We know Zeraora here is going to be actually in the game as with a brand new Mega Evolution. Like, that is confirmed by the big leak that came out a while back. So, I don't know. Could be anything. And again, I'm looking at this very surface level, as in, like, what this looks like. But again, there's a lot of implications of stuff like here that isn't necessarily, you know, the way it looks, but rather, like, a secret meaning behind it, right? Like, again, this frog could have a certain name, and this certain name could be related to another Pokemon, and that's maybe what it's implying. Again, it's not going to be always like very surface level. Also, he tweeted two things. He's saying, by the way, the former two are not included, and of course, this picture is partial. So, when he says the former two, this is where I think this confirms that this image right here isn't about Zeraora, which is the fact that he says former two. Now, former two is the two Pokemon we already know are getting Megas, which is Zygarde and Zeraora. Those two are confirmed already to be getting Megas, so that's probably what he means by the former two. But then he says, oh, sorry, former 5. Okay, and this... Okay, so this is him pretty much confirming, I would assume, again, this is my interpretation of this. This is him confirming that we're going to get Megas for the 3 starters, right? So he says, first he says former 2, so that's Zeraora and Zygarde, because those are 2 confirmed Megas, and then he says former 5, implying there's 3 more. What would those other 3 be? Well, we just got the starters, and I've already been saying that the starters are going to get Megas, not regional variants, because regional variants don't make sense in this game. They just do not fit in any way, shape, and or form. It just doesn't make any sense to have them in here. So there you go. There's that. Again, it's all theories. It could end up being actually regional forms. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Like, it doesn't make sense for this game, because this game isn't set in some distant future where Pokemon would have evolved and changed in Kalos enough. And also, keep in mind, the 3 starter Pokemon that we do have in this game are all Pokemon that already appear in Kalos in X and Y. It would be very strange if now those same Pokemon, all of a sudden have brand new regional form evolutions. That just doesn't make any sense. But Megas makes more sense, because we could definitely discover Mega Stones that would make them, like, enhance them and make them evolve into new Mega Evolutions, as opposed to the Pokemon evolving, you know, over time into being something different than what it was, 10 years ago in the Pokemon timeline. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems a little forced if they were to do regional forms. It doesn't make any sense. And also, I don't think regional forms are going to be much of a thing in this game at all, if anything. But there are a few breakdowns, a few theories, right? So let's take a look at those. So starting things off, he did also tweet something else. He tweeted this right here. He tweeted a letter in either Chinese, Japanese, I think Chinese, and then say, in my opinion, not in my opinion, IMO Dune. Again, what does this mean? I don't know. Well, Jan had a bit of a theory that could be about, like, Ingo and his brother and all that. So let's take a look at what the theory actually is. Here it is. So the first character, Ingo, has a Chinese name, and then there's the full Chinese name. Imo in Japanese means Taro, which is Lacey's Japanese name. Dune is a pile of sand. There's a specific Pokemon that's only encounterable in sand clouds. And then, of course, some people make the theory Mega Excadrill as being Lacey's ace, and Khu confirming it's an odd generation. Also, Ingo is also famously one that uses Excadrill. So that would make sense, because his brother does, or I mean, they do appear, right? So, like, if one of the brothers appears in Arceus, then the other one appearing in, you know, in Pokemon ZA would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Like, it just makes sense that either, or same person appears twice, who knows? But, like, again, it would make sense that they like he would be in the game here. Like, it doesn't seem that crazy, but he's implying at least more or less, not the character, but maybe implying more that, like, not that Ingo's going to show up, because I think Ingo was already, I forget, like, the difference between them, but I think Ingo was already in, I think he was already in Pokemon Scarlet and, sorry, no, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was in Pokemon Legends Arceus, wasn't he? Like, Ingo, yeah, Ingo was in Pokemon Legends Arceus, so it wouldn't be him, it would be his brother instead that would show up, in, like, most likely, right? Like, that would make more sense. Like, Emmett would be the one actually showing up. But I think what this post here, this riddle is trying to do, is not tell us that you know, Ingo is going to show up again, because Ingo, again, was already in Arceus. Rather, he's trying to tell us what one of the new Megas might be. And in this case, it would possibly be a new, like, Mega Excadrill. So that would actually be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Like, Excadrillite. That actually sounds like a pretty decent, like a mega stone of sorts, like not that crazy. So there's that. Again, it's just a theory. Keep that in mind. But it's most likely the case. So far, in terms of megas, what we have confirmed, and the entire list of megas that we can think of, we at least have this to work with, right? So we have Mega Zeraora, Mega Zygarde, we have Mega Starters, so that's 5, right? Putting us at a total of 5 of them. Then we move on, we might potentially have Mega Excadrill, that's 6. And then if we look at his entire list of megas here, and again, this might not be the entire list, but because he says just, you know, let's cook, but this could just be the first image of many images, or this might be it. But we have 6, and then we have, if you count all the images, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 more images, which puts us at about, like, what? What would that be? 20, wait, no, am I doing the math wrong here? Because we had, like, okay, we had 6, and then, so 18, right? About 18. It puts us at about 18, which is a fine number, but I definitely think there's going to be more than that. I doubt that this is the only thing, which is, of course, where people might think, like, oh, maybe they'll do regional variants or brand new Pokemon is also a possibility, some think, to kind of fit it in. I still think they're going to push for way more megas in here. Way more megas makes more sense, but again, I might be crazy, so who knows? Moving on, though. We've gone through that. There are a few other theories. Again, like, you know, you can see down here, same thing from Ninko Wartico saying not Gen 1, odd number Gen 3, so Gen 3 or 5. And then he's guessing that it could be Krookodile instead. That this word means equals still. Krookodile are known to use sand terrain as cover. And it is true, we did see Krookodile, or Sandiles rather, in the trailer, in a bunch of sand dunes. So it is possible that it might not be Excadrill, but that it might be instead Krookodile. Because he says here, they're known to use sandy terrain as cover to patiently wait for a prey to pass by even throughout the day without rest. Emo equals Krookodile's ability. Intimidate. Moxie, there's no O. Dune equals sand. It's habitat. So yeah, it is possible. He says actually it might be Mega Excadrill because he figures out afterwards that both Ingo and Lacey have that Pokemon, and only those 2 Pokemon appear in Dustcloud. So again, Excadrill, Krookodile, either one of them. I think more likely it's going to be Excadrill. Makes more sense with the way Khu makes his like riddles. It fits way more. So there's that. But that's not the end of today, guys. We have a little bit more to talk about. So the next thing is going to be this right here. This is a rumor coming to us from Necro Felipe saying, rumor, Nintendo Direct for current Switch games could happen this week, apparently. That is interesting. Tips came from 2 different sources pointing for March 26th? Interesting. Okay. And then, so let's take a look at this actual post and see what it says. So it is in Spanish, but Necro Felipe does have actually like good sources, and he does share like a lot of real stuff. So I do trust some of the stuff he says because it does come with like actual weight. And what he's saying here though is apparently that we might be getting a regular Nintendo Direct like for the current Switch, right, for like current stuff before the Switch 2 Direct, which would make sense because then they will not set up this expectation for the Switch 2 Direct to feature anything to do with the Switch 1 or any brand new games. They would just go into it just talking about the Switch 2 itself. Now, here's what he says. Which is the Nintendo Switch 2 is just under 10 days away, which is true. It's now 9 days from its presentation through a Nintendo Direct that should be presented on April 2nd. But a recent rumor points to another potential presentation focused on the Japanese company's current hardware. The first hint pointing to this presentation was published on the Chinese forum Weibo. Now, Weibo constantly has leaks, where the user is already known on the forum for leaks involving Nintendo Project and has already guessed content from the company's presentation in the past. Stated that the current Nintendo Switch would have a face-to-face meeting in 3 days, which would be on March 26th. In addition, users Ninspider on the Famiboards forum has published 2 posts, 1 and 2, and they link them here. We're going to check those posts out real quick, see what they're all about. Let's see. Let's find. Ninspider says, I walked by Furukawa's office this morning and I heard him say, Nintendo will die before Switch 2 dies. Anyone know what this means? And then the second thing somebody asked, is this Japanese meme, Nintendo Direct, or then this month? Again, I don't know the explanation for this, but I guess we're going to get it here. Basically pointing to a presentation happening later this month. This is the same user responsible for leaks involving the Switch 2, such as the dock design, magnetic Joy-Con, and more. More discreetly, journalist Andy Robinson also hinted that something related to Nintendo Direct will arrive before the big Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, responding to a post on both Blue Sky and Twitter with a tone of doubt about no news about the Switch 1 happening until next week with an emoji. For now, though, there are no other known sources corroborating this possibility, but we are keeping an eye on the rumor, and in about 3 days we'll find out if Nintendo really plans to comment on anything about the future of the lineup involving its current Nintendo Switch, which are after after the arrival of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, no longer has any games dated for the rest of the year for now. True, we do have, though, Metroid Prime 4, which I think still is meant to be coming out on the Switch 1, but it could also be a launch title for Switch 2, but still come out. Like, think about like how Breath of the Wild came out for both. It was originally supposed to be, what, like a Wii U title, and then it became a Switch title, but then they decided to still release it on the Wii U because... literally because of the fact that like they'd already promised it, so it would be really bad if they didn't. And I think this is the same thing that's going to happen for like Metroid Prime 4, is that it's going to still come out on, it's going to come out on the Switch 2, like as a launch title, but it's still going to come out for the Switch 1 as well. It's just going to be better on the Switch 2 in terms of performance potentially and stuff like that. But again, it's interesting sets of rumors here. I think it's worthwhile looking at these because, again, there is some value to it. And I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions, of course, as per usual. I don't think there's a link to the Weibo post, what the user says there, but like, you know, the fact that they point out there's going to be a face-to-face meeting in 3 days, I mean, March 26th, that would be on Wednesday, so it's not even a long time until then. It's definitely possible. Like, let's just put it out there. It's definitely possible, so keep that in mind. And the last thing is going to be, of course, Cerebi update. The next 7-star Tera raid battle has been fully revealed. It's going to be a Ghost Tera type Tyranitar running from March 28th until the 30th. Again, a week later from April 4th until April 6th. So yes, Tyranitar, Ghost Tyranitar, you're going to be getting your hands on that if you want to. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Leave me your theories in the comment section for all the riddles and stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.